Deals. And Bonds hits one high. Hits it deep. It is out of here. 7:56. Bonds stands alone.
Now Booker with Tucker on him. Throws it up for 8. Shot blocked by Antetokounmpo. What a block from Giannis.
17 seconds from Game 7 or from championship number 6. Jordan open. Chicago with the lead.
Minute remaining. And they're putting Curry in the pick and roll, trying to get him on Irving. Irving and Curry, one-on-one. Irving puts it up. It's good. Kyrie Irving from downtown.
We're sending it in, Jerome. That's for damn sure.
Yes. What is up, everybody? Welcome to Tap Room Sports Podcast. I am your host, Jordan. Stacks on Stacks, lads. Joined with my guy, Mr. Big Ballin' Ben Larson.
Yes, sir.
Live and direct. Sunday night, we are being brought to you by Sharps. Make sure to go download Sharps app. Use it to track your bets. Become a better bettor. And know what you're losing, like me lately. Download it. Use promo code Jord517. It's free. Do it. Go do it. Any mobile device. How you doing tonight, Ben?
Good, man. Can't complain. The weekend, the holiday is finally done. A couple more weeks, and then we're at Christmas and
New Year's.
Man. We're moving this shit along. It's gonna be tough to go back to work tomorrow. I had all last week off, so. And only another week and I get to fucking shave this caterpillar off, so.
No shave November, huh?
Yeah.
Nice.
It's getting to that itch part, so gotta get by that.
That's the worst. It's time to trim my shit too.
Yeah.
It is getting itchy. Man, what a week. What a weekend. Worst fucking weekend of football I've ever seen in my life.
It was pretty bad. Not gonna lie.
It is what it is, though. I mean, dude, it's crazy because, like, dude, the NFL product is getting so fucking bad, dude. Like, it's getting putrid, and It's a mixture of like dog shit quarterback play, and the officiating has just gotten so fucking bad, Ben. Like, it's too much officiating where it's like, it's really teetering games, you know what I mean? It's tilting games in favor of another team, and I get it. Like, there's penalties in games, but there's also a lot of stuff like, watching the Eagles the last few weeks, dude. Like, especially the Cowboys game, the Eagles Cowboys game. Like, bro, officiating like cost the Cowboys that game.
Yeah,
they should have won that game. And I was on the Eagles, and I'm saying that they should have lost.
Yeah, in
that game. So I'm being like completely unbiased in this situation here. Same with the Dolphins and Eagles game. I mean, the Eagles had 0 penalties, and the Dolphins had like 18 or 15 or something. Like, dude, you can't tell me you go a whole NFL game without fucking having a single penalty. Like, that doesn't. Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah. Well, and something I've noticed too is that it's very one-sided in, the sense of, the consistency on these two teams. One team will be able to hold like fucking crazy, and literally the next drive the other team's doing it and they're not getting those calls.
Yep.
Or they're getting the calls. And it's just, I wouldn't mind it if it was different between games, but it's different between
teams.
Drives.
Yeah.
And that's not okay.
Yeah, it's fascinating, man. And like Tom Brady came out this last week too, and he was talking about, I don't know if you heard that.
Yep.
And he was just saying how like the game is just so bad right now, and a lot of it has to do with like the rules being one of them, because like you can't hit basically, so it puts the defense at a disadvantage and stuff. And like obviously we want more points, but it's like, this week there was a lot of overs, but we've been seeing a lot of unders because quarterback play has just been so fucking putrid this year.
Well, a lot of injuries in that quarterback play too.
Even without injuries, there's some like the Patriots situation, which obviously we're gonna touch on, like dog shit quarterback play. Who else has hella shitty quarterback play? Like the Browns, now that Watson's out, obviously, but even when Watson was in, he wasn't playing that great.
Yeah, and that's what I'm looking at too. Like you look at the Jets, no Aaron Rodgers there. They have Zach Wilson for who was their starter previous, but he's been absolutely trashed. You've got Daniel Jones out. I mean, he was trash before he went out.
Yeah.
You've got Joe Burrow out. You've got Deshaun out. You've got Kenny Pickett playing like trash.
Pickett is awful. Yep.
You've got Fields, who's been in and out of the lineup, but he's been playing like trash. You've got Cousins out. I'm just trying to go down the list and seeing who these quarterbacks are out.
Will Levis, fucking that dude's been nice.
Yeah,
it's just
you've got Richardson out. I think that's it.
It's just been a lot of bad quarterback play this year.
Mm-hmm.
The Raiders, another team, bad quarterback play.
They sat Jimmy G, which is the crazy part.
Yep. I mean, dude, like Aiden O'Connell's definitely better than Jimmy Garoppolo, at least from what he showed. You know what I mean? That's not saying much because Aiden O'Connell hasn't looked great.
Yeah,
he's had his moments, but he hasn't looked great. But yeah, man, and like it was crazy because like we talked on Tuesday night when we were previewing the Thursday and Black Friday game, and we basically all agreed that the favorites were probably the right side, right? And I did like the Niners and Lions teaser. I ended up not playing it, thank God. But I didn't play Packers +8. I played Seattle plus 7.5, and I played the under in the Commanders fucking Cowboys game, which probably should have gone under if it wasn't for a fucking pick 6 at the end of the game.
Yep.
But nonetheless, all three games on Thursday went over. All three, two of the favorites covered, which were huge public plays. And then on Friday, game went over, and the Dolphins covered, which was a huge public play. So we start out the weekend public covering like crazy, and then we head into today, and the most bet public games, first one being Pittsburgh -2.5 covered.
Which was such a
Tennessee -3.5 covered. Rams -2.5 covered. Chiefs -9.5 covered.
Yep.
Philly -3 push. Baltimore -3 covered.
Yep.
Just a crazy week. Favorites went 10-3-1 this NFL Sunday.
Wow. And that's against the spread or
against the spread.
Wow.
Never in the Super Bowl era, since lines have been getting posted, has there ever been a week where this many favorites covered in the NFL?
Yep.
Absolutely insane.
Yeah. Shit's crazy.
And now that pushes favorites 90, 79, and 10 overall in the season. It's a 53% win percentage. Dogs are 79, 90, and 10, 46% win percentage. So absolutely fucking wild week.
Yep.
And let's start it on Thursday. So we had Green Bay versus Detroit. That was our first game. Detroit closed like -8, -8.5 at most shops. And Green Bay just came out just blitzkrieg fucking the Lions, dude. They came out firing Jordan Love deep to Christian Watson. Packers took a 20-6 lead in the first quarter and kind of never really looked back, even though the Lions made it a little interesting at the end, but it was pretty much already over. Even the score, I know it was one score game, but the score doesn't even dictate how the Packers really handled that game because they conceded a touchdown at the end. They let the Lions score a touchdown because they used up so much of the clock.
Yeah. Well, and it was really the turnovers that really killed it. I mean, you look at Jared Goff's lines, and it wasn't bad. 29 for 44, 332 yards, 2 TDs, but it was the 3 fumbles, and you have to hold on to the ball. And when the other team doesn't allow a single turnover, that's right there is gonna automatically tell you where that game's going. And Green Bay had really good ball control and showed it at the end. If I saw that, those lines, Jordan Love 267 yards, 22 for 33, or sorry, 22 for 32 with 3 touchdowns, and versus Goff's 332 for 2 touchdowns. And then you look at the rushing. Detroit outrushed Green Bay by 31 points. I would look at that and just be like, okay, Detroit won this game.
Yeah.
But again, turnover factor is absolutely huge.
Well, we spoke about it on Tuesday. We said that the biggest thing that the Lions have to do is Jared Goff has to take care of the football. And he's been doing that for the most part, except for the last 2 weeks. Yeah. They snuck out of Chicago, or they snuck out against Chicago with a victory, and somehow, some way.
Yeah.
And then again this week, kind of it was the same thing that happened, except they dug themselves such a big of a hole, and obviously the Packers are a little bit better of a team that they weren't able to come back and win the game.
Was it a scoop and score? Right.
I don't think they had. Yeah, they did have a scoop and score touchdown. That was in the first quarter. Made it 20-6.
Yeah.
And then they failed the extra point. But nonetheless, I still think the Lions are legit. I think that they have one of the best rosters. It's just Jared Goff has to take care of the football, dude.
Yep.
Absolutely. He cannot fumble and turn the ball over, interceptions like he has the last 2 weeks, or else the Lions have no fucking chance.
Yeah.
Against the good teams. As far as the Packers are concerned, Jordan Love he's looked good the last 3 weeks, man.
He's looked better. I just still don't want to say good, but he's looked better.
He's looked good. He's looked good. He was a big reason why they beat the Chargers. He was a huge reason why they beat the Lions. They jumped up on the Lions real quick, and obviously the turnovers have a factor too, but he's been doing his damn thing, man. And if he's able to do that, and the Packers can play like any sort of defense, they can be a decent team, man. They could make the playoffs for sure.
Yeah, they still need a lot of pieces, though.
See, I don't know if they need a lot of pieces, but they definitely need to work on their O-line, and they definitely need fucking some linebackers, because they fucking cannot stop the fucking run to save their lives.
They need some offensive threats, too.
I think they got good pieces. Like, Watson's good. He's just always hurt. And Dobbs is nice. And then that other kid they got, Reed, that kid's hella nice, too.
Yeah, but there's no game changer there.
I think Christian Watson's a game changer.
Yeah, maybe I just don't know because I haven't seen him enough.
He's legit, dude. He just fucking gets hurt too much.
Yeah.
And your best ability is availability.
Damn straight.
So if you can't stay on the field, you're basically fucking useless. So if he can't stay on the field, then obviously they got to find another option. But I still think Romeo Dobbs and that kid Jalen Reed, I think they got nice pieces. And then obviously Aaron Jones is often injured now too, which fucking kind of dampers their situation. And AJ Dillon is fucking Mr. 2 yards a carry. So they probably need to upgrade the running back position as well. Let's move over to the next game. We had Washington at Dallas. Dallas closed 13.5-point favorites. This game was absolute comedy, and I feel bad for anybody that had the Commanders because they should have covered this game.
Yep.
They basically, if you look at the box score and told me that they lost by 35 points, I'd be like, bro, you're insane, dude. There's no fucking way. They had out time of possession. Just an ugly game, and then the Commanders end up firing Jack Del Rio at the end of the game. What's your thoughts on? What was your thoughts on this game?
Well, I think it's obviously it's about time. We've been talking about this. You've been talking about this for weeks that Del Rio is needs to get out of there. And that was evident in the what was it? 3 touchdowns and a field goal in the fourth quarter.
Yep.
Like Dallas just pounded it on, and Washington couldn't do a single damn thing to stop the football. And when you get embarrassed on prime time against a big division rival, it doesn't surprise me that we saw this firing. So, um, I thought Sam Howell played great. I thought Dak played great. Um, it was to be honest, I thought Washington played maybe not a better game, but a better 3 quarters than Dallas.
You take away the pick six, which was terrible, but I mean the defense didn't do themselves any favors. The fucking the Cowboys would just score so quickly because the Commanders couldn't stop them, and like the Commanders have a bad secondary for sure. Biggest thing about the Commanders though, and why Jack Del Rio should have been fired years ago is because 3 years ago during the COVID year, and they had Alex Smith starting. The defense held them down. They were one of the best defenses in the league. And then they not gradually got worse. They got worse, significantly worse the very next year.
You must be frustrated logging into your bookmaker only to see the line display.
Let me close that. They got significantly worse the very next year. And it's like they had so much draft capital on that defensive line with Chase Young and Montez Sweat and all the pieces they had up there. And the defense just sucked, dude. And, that's a testament to the defensive coordinator. And, like, now Ron Rivera is doing it because he knows that his job is on the line. So it's like, well, I got to get rid of this guy or else it's my ass. But sorry, Ron, like, at the end of the year, you're gone too, bro.
Yeah.
There's no fucking way they keep Ron Rivera on at the end of this year. As far as the Cowboys go, Ben, like, what's your thoughts on the Cowboys? Because they still haven't really beaten a good team. I know they should have. I talked about it earlier. They should have beat the Eagles. They were probably the better team on the field that day. They just didn't get the W. But do you think that the Cowboys are a legitimate contender? They beat the shit out of bad teams. We know that.
Yeah. Well, and I think there's a lot of, teams that beat the shit out of bad teams. A lot of teams that beat the shit out of bad teams in this, in the NFC. And this is one of them. It's going to be interesting to see how they do with the rest of the season when they have, the Lions, the, questionable Dolphins and the Bills and the Eagles again, too. Just to see what they do against these good teams and if they can, put something together, because right now this is a Jekyll and Hyde team that they would win one week in the playoffs and then lose the following week, and it doesn't matter who they're playing. It's just that they can't string 2 quality games on both sides of the ball. They can against a difficult team.
Yeah, they can against bad teams, but I agree. I just I stack them up against the Niners and Eagles. Well, I don't think the Eagles are that good. I think the Eagles are kind of fraudulent too, to be honest. Like,
oh, absolutely.
I think they should have like at least 3 losses, maybe even more. If it wasn't for Valdez Scantling dropping a ball, and if it wasn't for fucking miscommunication by a lot of things today, but big miscommunication at the end of the Bills' first drive in overtime should have been a W right there. But I do think like the Niners are a step ahead of everybody in the NFC. But then I think the Lions, Cowboys, and Eagles are kind of right there in that second tier, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But I'm not sure, like, maybe, like, the Cowboys and Eagles are going to play soon in a couple weeks. That's going to tell us a lot, or in a few weeks. That's going to tell us a lot about where the Cowboys and Eagles are both at.
Yep. Well, I think that's going to tell us a lot about that. And really, I'm looking forward to this Washington-Dallas game at the end of the year. They play week 17, and this could be, if the Cowboys win this, then they get first place in the NFC East, possibly,
Oh, we lost Benjamin. He's talking about the Cowboys. We're talking about the Cowboys and how serious are. Oh, here he comes. He's back.
There we go. Now I'm back. Let's see if that video works too.
Even if it doesn't, you're good. We can hear your voice.
Yeah. So I don't know if you actually heard this, but like I'm looking forward to week 17 when it's Washington and Dallas again.
Yeah.
that could be for the division, and that could be for the number 1 overall seed, depending on where the Niners are.
Yeah. It could be, and it could be depending on where the Eagles are at as well. So
yeah, and that's, well, Dallas would have to beat the Eagles, and the Niners would probably have to beat the Eagles.
Yeah,
because I don't really see any other teams that the Eagles would lose to, unless it's more of a kind of hoax game,
Yep. All right, let's move over to those Niners. They played the Seahawks in Seattle. They closed 7.5-point favorites. The total was 43. Total went over. Niners crushed Seattle. The game was never fucking close.
Yep.
I was on Seattle just because I thought that Seattle would get up for this game, being at home. But the offense they just could not get anything going, and even they looked dead in the water. And like they even had like a nice little third quarter, and it looked like maybe they were gonna get back in the game. But then, the Niners just shut the door, kept running the ball all over them. Seahawks couldn't stop them, and that's the Niners recipe, dude. You cannot let the Niners get ahead, because if you do, they're a tough team to beat. You have to get ahead of the Niners if you want to beat them, because they don't play from behind well. So that's my biggest takeaway about both these teams. I think Seattle's hella fraud. I don't think they're that good, and I honestly think that them extending Geno Smith, like, he's not it. And now they're gonna be in this purgatory position where like they're too good to get a fucking good draft pick, to get a good quarterback, and they're not good enough to be a contender. So they're kind of they're going to be in that middle area for the foreseeable future. And like they keep adding all these draft picks on defense, and like their defense doesn't improve at all.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
So
their defense improves a little bit, but that offense is just lacking. They've got some good wide receivers, but Kenneth Walker being out has completely derailed their offense. Charbonnet had a great game too. I don't know if I'd say a great game, but he was.
Well, it's tough for them to run the ball because they were down fucking 21-3, 24-3 at half. So I mean, it kind of eliminated them being a balanced offense, and that's the problem. Is like when you make Geno Smith, they're going to drop back and pass. They're easy to defend.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean and they got hella good wide receivers too. Like they got 3 great wide receivers, and they have a mid quarterback, a very mid quarterback. And it just goes to speak how bad quarterback play is in the NFL, that Geno Smith is a starting quarterback and people consider him one of the better starters in the league.
Yeah.
And as far as the Niners go, I mean, they're definitely the best roster in the football, probably behind them and the Ravens. I think are both up there. I just like I said, they just have to play from behind. I'm excited, or I'm sorry, they have to play from in front, and I am very excited to see this game against the Eagles, because this is a big game for the Niners. They kept saying all offseason, well, if Purdy didn't get hurt, well, now's their time to show it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then obviously the Eagles are going to want to show that like that wasn't a fluke, and they would have won the game regardless. So I think it's a big game for both teams, dude. And like, the Eagles have been skating by, bro. They've been flirting with fucking luck all for what seems like a majority of the year, dude. They barely beat the Patriots in week 1. They lost to the Jets. They like every single week, dude, they're like barely winning. They're in a 1-score game, dude. They're literally the Vikings from last year.
Yeah.
That's exactly what they remind me of. So I'm excited to see this game, to see where both those teams are at.
Yeah. And look at the ease of schedule that they have for the rest of the year too. They've got the Seahawks, the Giants, the Cardinals, and then the Giants again. They do have the Niners and the Cowboys, so their next 2 weeks are hard. But after that, it's a fucking breeze. And what do you know? The NFL has made it nice and easy for them again, because they didn't win last year.
Yeah, I mean, they get. We'll get to the Eagles soon. Let's talk the Sunday night game. Baltimore at LA Chargers. Baltimore closed 3-point favorites. Another huge win for the public here is Baltimore wins 20-10. Total goes under 48.5. Baltimore really tried to give this game away too, and the Chargers just could not fucking take it. Even Lamar was trying to throw interceptions. Fucking Chargers couldn't get them. Baltimore's defense, they really stood on their head and fucking took care of business here.
Yep.
Chargers charge 3 turnovers, 1 interception, 2 fumbles for them. And, it's all she wrote. Baltimore wins on a fucking walk-off touchdown, up 3 by Zay Flowers. He could have slid down and just ended the game right there, but he ran into the end zone.
Helped me, so.
Killed me.
Added another unit there. So, oh, yeah, I guess it killed you on that one, too, because it would have been a push for both of us, huh?
Destroyed me. So,
yeah.
That's how my week went. So, it's just, it is what it is. It was a fitting end to the week, I'll say, for sure. Yeah. Baltimore, in my opinion, I talk about this every week. They're definitely the best team in the NFL, in my opinion. I think that they're the most well-balanced. While I think the Niners have the best roster, Baltimore's quarterback is a million times better than the Niners quarterback, and I think that's the biggest difference. Mm-hmm. And as I spoke about before, Brock Purdy's 0-3 playing from behind. And in my opinion, and Kyle Shanahan as a coach isn't good playing from behind. He has a very, I think he's like 3-18 playing from behind in the second half. So I think that's the biggest difference in my opinion. That's why I put Baltimore a notch ahead of the Niners, but 2 great teams. Chargers, they got to get rid of Brandon Staley, dude.
Oh, absolutely. And they got to get Justin Herbert some protection. He got the shit beat out of him today.
Yeah, but I mean, like,
sacks, but hit 9 times. And those hits were hard. You have to protect him.
The Ravens have, they have a great, pass rush. But, I'm sorry. Yeah, the Ravens have a great pass rush. And the Chargers have drafted 2 tackles in the last 3 drafts. So they definitely got to improve their offensive line, but I don't think a lot of it is on their offensive line. They don't run the ball very well. And part of that's because of the play calling and a lot of shit, but I don't know. Brandon Staley is one of the worst fucking coaches, dude.
Yep.
And that team has too much talent to be as bad as they are. Even on defense, they got too much talent, and the defense isn't that great. They got to figure it out.
Joey Bosa getting hurt is definitely a big.
He's always hurt though.
Defense, but yeah,
that's why they went out and drafted Tula Putu from USC because Joey Bosa is always fucking hurt.
Mm-hmm.
It's one thing you can count on.
Yep.
All right, let's move over to the Eagles game. We had the Bills at the Eagles. Eagles closed 3. Total was 48.5. It's a push. Eagles went in overtime on a walk-off TD, 37-34. Bills should have absolutely won this game. There was a lot of bad shit that happened in this game, and a mix of it was on the Bills as well, but a lot of bad officiating, man. There was a missed horse collar that ended up being they called a intentional grounding, which just fucked up the Bills' drive when they were driving, and they ended up missing the fucking kick there.
So was he out of the pocket or?
No, he was in the pocket, but it was a horse collar tackle.
It doesn't. You can't horse collar in the pocket.
You can't horse collar anywhere. You can't pull anyone down from the horse collar.
The horse collar call is not eligible when your QB is in the pocket.
I don't know. They were even talking about it on the broadcast that it should have been a horse collar.
Yeah, we were looking at Joey Bosa doing it on Baker Mayfield the other night, and there's not Joey Bosa, Nick Bosa doing it on Baker, and we looked at they put up the rule saying if the quarterback is in the pocket, it's not a horse collar because Baker was crying. So
that's a horseshit fucking rule.
Yeah.
But I mean, dude, the Bills outgained the Eagles by 100 and something yards, dude. They were the better team on the field.
28 yards.
Time of possession, 14 more minutes.
Yep.
It's just, they had 1 turnover, and it happened to be in the fucking on the other side of the field where the Eagles could score fast.
Yep.
And then, that Gabe Davis miscommunication with Josh Allen in overtime, dude. They should have had a touchdown there. It should have been a game over. And now Buffalo's season is fucking hanging on a limb, but the best thing for them is probably that, Joe Burrow's hurt because, obviously the Bengals are not going to be competing for a playoff, but now you got the Broncos, Texans, Colts, Browns, and Steelers all ahead of you. Browns will probably fall out because they have shitty quarterback play, plus DTR is out next week. I don't know what they're gonna do with the quarterback position.
What happened to DTR?
He got fucking crushed today. He
Oh,
got
I
hit
didn't see
hard.
that one. Wow.
And then the Broncos are 6-5 now. Texans are 6-5. Colts are 6-5. So I mean, you know, they're battling for with a handful of teams to get in the playoffs, man. And
Yeah,
there's no guarantee they make the playoffs. Plus, they have a tough ass schedule too. I don't know. Even if the Bills, I'll say this, dude. If the Bills do make the playoffs, they're definitely a team I wouldn't want to face. You know what I mean? Because they're gonna be like a 6 or 7 seed. they're gonna playing like the Steelers or the Texans or the Broncos again in the first round. And even in the second round, if you're the Chiefs or Ravens, like you'd much rather see a fucking Steelers or a Browns or a Colts than you would want to see a Bills team.
yeah. I mean, yes and no. You know, the Bills are going to have major issues, and they can't put a full game together. So I think that's something that you can benefit from. I mean, I agree with you that you'd rather see them. You rather wouldn't see them in the playoffs. You know, if you're a top round team, kind of going parallel to them, but you know, the Bills haven't been able to put. I want to say even 3 quarters together.
Well, their biggest thing is turnovers, dude. Like today, like
Yeah,
you know, regardless of anything that they can't control, like Josh Allen had that one interception, and that one interception led to 7 points, dude. You don't throw that interception, even if he threw it down at the end of the field, like in their territory, it would have been better than where he threw. He threw it on his own 20-yard line.
yeah.
So that was one of the biggest differences, right? And then the miscommunication, like that miscommunication with Gabe Davis was like a microcosm of the Bills' offense this season.
Yeah.
And then they had like hella drop balls on fucking. I mean, dude, the team's just comedy. Because I mean, you watch the game; they were the better team. Like nobody watched that game and was like, dude, the Eagles are the better team on the field. No fucking way.
That's true.
No fucking way. But you know, the Eagles managed to pull out the W, and the Bills are now, well, they were out of the playoffs before, but now they're struggling. They needed that win.
Yeah. Especially emotionally.
It's like
to show them that they can fight with the top. I mean, they can't fight with the top team, but they can beat a top team.
They're like the antithesis of the Eagles. Like the Eagles are like, they only have 1 loss in a 1-score game. The Bills can't get a fucking win in a 1-score game.
Mm-hmm.
They're like the complete opposite. All right, let's move.
Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
That's the Bengals. Sorry, I was looking at the Bengals line. 0-4 in their division, 1-6 in the conference, but never mind.
Yeah, no, the Bills aren't that bad. I mean, they
2-2 in the division, 3-5 in the conference.
Yeah, I mean they had a tough schedule, but I mean like still like they always lose these 1-score games. Like you have to win some of these 1-score games.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to Kansas City at Las Vegas. Kansas City closed 9.5-point favorites. The total is 43. Total goes over, and Kansas City wins 31-17, covers the 9.5, even though they were down 14-0. Kansas City outscored the Raiders 31-3 from the second quarter on. And the Chiefs scored a second half point for the first time in 4 weeks.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize that.
They scored a second half point. They scored 17, so the offense looked much better. The Raiders, they raided, and honestly, long term, this is probably a good loss for the Raiders, because if the Raiders won this game, they were definitely hiring Antonio Pierce for sure. Yeah. Which may or may not have been a good hire. I don't know, but now that they lost this game, I think that Antonio Pierce, I think the what's it called, the
honeymoon phase.
Honeymoon is now over. Good wording there. Honeymoon phase is over. So it's gonna be. Go ahead, Ben.
It's gonna be interesting to see how the rest of the year pushes out, because he's still 2-2. He came in after the Giants.
Yeah, but his 2 wins are against the Giants and the Jets.
Yeah, Giants and the Jets. They definitely looked a lot better last week against the Dolphins.
They did.
And for the first what 2 quarters they were in this game with the Chiefs. So I mean, I don't think he's that bad of a, at least an interim and a possible hire for coach. It's going to be interesting to see the Chiefs in week, what is that, 15, and the Broncos in week 17. That's where I think
the craziest part about this game, Ben, was the craziest part about this game here was the Raiders had a chance to go up 17-0. Carlson misses the field goal. The Chiefs go down and score. Like, how much different would this game have been if the Raiders were up 17-0?
Yeah. How much of it would have been 17-0? How much of it would have been if they, kicked instead of went for the fourth downs, 0 for 2 on fourth downs.
Yeah, I mean, they did a lot of shit that fucking they probably would go back and do over, but
you can't be 1 for 3 in the red zone.
Yeah.
No penalties too, which is surprising.
Yeah, no, it was a clean game, and the biggest difference was that the Kansas City Chiefs, they only rushed for 69 yards, but it felt like they rushed for a lot more. But the biggest, that was the thing, when they were about to go up 17-0, I was like, oh man, if they go up 17-0, this game's fucking over, dude. Because especially how the Chiefs offense looked and how they've looked previously, but then you miss that kick, Chiefs go down, they score, you give them all the momentum, and then they never looked back after that. And then the defense, the Chiefs defense really stood up like they have all year in the second half, and the Raiders couldn't do shit. And the Raiders, I mean, they rushed 23 times for 123 yards. They're running the ball really well, but yeah, man, hindsight, I'm not a Raiders fan, obviously, but they win this game, they were definitely hiring Antonio Pierce.
I mean, to be honest, they didn't run the ball well. 23 for 123, but 63 of that was on a Josh Jacobs run where he should have been fucking taken out twice. And it was just bad tackling by Kansas City. And if that doesn't happen, then you're looking at, 22 carries for, what is it? 60 yards. And that's not good.
Yeah, that wouldn't be good.
You look at Josh Jacobs, he had 110 yards, 63 were on that one carry. So, it's the ball well. They didn't throw the ball well. Like this off your decisions of what do you do with Devontae Adams over the offseason? What do you like? Do you keep Aiden O'Connell? I don't think you can. I think you have to go get a better quarterback. Jacobs is on the last year of his deal, or he has one more left?
This is the last year.
Yeah. You're going to have to get another running back because I doubt he wants to go play for the Raiders anymore.
Well, I mean, obviously,
the coach that you need to pick up.
They fired Dave Ziegler, so they're going to have to hire a new general manager, a new coach. Yeah. And I thought the problem with the last regime, in my opinion, was when they brought him in, Mark Davis, it was a team that had made the playoffs the year before, and they shouldn't have made the playoffs. If you remember how they kind of won those games, they played the Cleveland Browns when everybody was out with COVID, and it was just a crazy ass fucking end of that season. But Mark Davis, he hires them, and he's like, this is what we got to make the playoffs. So they go out and they trade for Devontae Adams, and rather than tearing it down and rebuilding it, maybe Ziegler and McDaniels weren't the right people for the job, but it's hard to grade somebody on building a roster if they don't get to build their roster. You know what I mean? Where they get these stipulations where it's this is what we have to do. We need to go forward and compete for the playoffs because we were there last year. So the next person they bring in or regime or people, Mark Davis needs to step aside and let them completely tear it down and rebuild. And that does mean trading Devontae Adams. You need to get assets to rebuild because this team has way too many holes. I would even consider trading Max Crosby because Max Crosby and Devontae Adams are probably the two people on this roster that are going to get you anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So he needs to step aside and let this team and let the football people rebuild it. And in 3 to 4 years, if nothing is happening, then that's when you go make a decision. I'm hearing a lot of speculation and a lot of rumors that John Gruden could be returning as the head coach of the Raiders.
That'd be interesting.
The reason being is because he's owed so much money by the Raiders. The Raiders already have to pay Josh McDaniels too. So if they go hire another coach, Ben, then they're paying 3 head coaches.
Jesus. Yeah.
And to be honest, John Gruden, people will give him a lot of shit, but dude, he that team that made the playoffs, that was his team.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? And so, like, yeah, you could hold a lot against John Gruden and stuff, but like at the end of the day, like dudes wanted to play for him, and you know that team was a playoff team. As bad as like he was at drafting, whether those were his decisions or not, I don't know. But you know, I don't think it's the end of the deal. I don't think it's the end of the world if he is the coach.
Yeah, and that was the Derek Carr led team too.
Yeah,
Can't forget that.
Exactly. All right, let's move on to the Rams and Cardinals. Rams closed 1-point favorites, or I thought it was like 2.5 point favorites.
Rams, I think, were 2.5.
Yeah, Rams closed 2.5.
I don't know where they closed. The line was minus 3.5.
It closed 3.5. I thought it closed 2.5.
I believe so.
2.5, 3. The total closed 44.5. Total went over. I was on the total. I was on the under, and I got 46, and it fucking didn't even hit. The Cardinals, you know, right when I start to think that they're looking like a real football team, they let the fucking LA Rams just fucking tear them apart. Kyron Williams, 16 rushes, 143 yards. They could not stop that man. Just an absolute terrible game from the Cardinals defense. The offense didn't look much better. But then again, they were playing from so far from behind the whole game because they couldn't stop the fucking Rams offense.
Yep. It
was a terrible, terrible game. And yeah, I don't know what else to say about that. The Cardinals, I mean, both these teams aren't that good.
Yeah, but to be honest, this is again the best thing. I think you said it in our taproom chat earlier. Like, this is the best thing that could have happened to the Cardinals. So you want them to get the experience, but you don't want them to win games.
Yeah,
because you know that high draft pick looks mighty nice. So you know, them losing this game, them going to 2-10 is a little bit of a blessing in disguise. So
yeah, but I liked when they were at least competing. This game they weren't competing. You know what I mean? Like, it was it was just ugly from the jump.
Yeah.
All right, let's move over to the next game. Cleveland at Denver. Denver closed 1.5 point favorites. The total was 36. The total goes over, and Denver just put a spanking on the Browns. The Browns, I mean, they walked away with a lot of injuries in this game. Myles Garrett left the game hurt. Denzel Ward didn't even play. Dorian Thompson-Robinson got knocked out of the game. PJ Walker looked like shit. I think the ride is over for the Browns, Ben.
Yeah.
On the flip side, the Broncos look really good. Winners of 5 straight. What?
What a fucking hit. I just saw the PJ Walker hit. Or sorry, the Dorian Thompson-Robinson hit.
Yeah, he got blasted. And honestly, it was a clean hit, dude. If he didn't get hurt, they wouldn't have called roughing the passer.
Yeah.
It just looked, I mean, it was a nasty hit. Like, he got hit, but it was a legal hit.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Jesus.
The Browns are, I think I said last week, I didn't think the Browns really had a shot without a quarterback or with the quarterback situation that they have. I think it kind of showed today that regardless of how good the defense is, the offense is just so bad that it's not really going to give them a chance to win.
Yep.
And on the flip side, man, Denver winners of 5 straight, dude.
Yeah. I mean, I was kind of looking at those two. Like, there's not, there's some good wins there. There's some bad wins there. I mean, again, nothing's a bad win. A W's a W. But
especially when you were them and you were like completely down and out.
Yeah, but they just completely they have control of their own destiny right now, because the only difficult game they have is going to be next week against the Texans, and then they've got, well, maybe the Lions, but the Lions have not looked good. These last couple weeks. So they got the Texans, the Lions, but then they have the Chargers, the Pats, the Chargers, and the Raiders again. So
The Raiders have beat the Broncos like 8 straight times. They like own the Broncos.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen this time. Especially last game of the season where the Raiders are and the kind of the array that the Raiders are in right now. I don't see them winning many more games.
I don't know. We'll see. Like that defense, and it's a testament to Sean Payton as much as like, I thought he was a fucking idiot for talking shit about Nathaniel Hackett, even though Nathaniel Hackett wasn't a good coach.
Yep.
But it is a testament to how this team was able to turn around after getting a 70 bomb dropped on them. Mm-hmm. Most coaches would have lost the locker room, but the Broncos turned around and they got better.
Yeah.
The defenses got better. The offenses got better. Like they've gotten better in every facet of the game. So, I mean, that is a testament to Sean Payton. And, I think that they legitimately can make the playoffs, dude. Like,
oh, I agree.
They're right there on the outside looking in. A win against the Texans, who's a team they're battling with, would be huge. Like I said, the Browns are 7-4, but they're going to fall out, Ben. Like, their quarterback play is just too bad. Yeah. And then the Colts are there too.
Fall out too.
Yeah, Steelers could fall out, and then the Colts are right there too. So, they're not that far behind. Like, the only team they really have to be worried about is the Bills, and they already beat the Bills.
Yeah.
So that win on Monday night looking huge.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the next game. We got Carolina at Tennessee. Tennessee closed 3.5-point favorites. The total was 36.5. Total goes under. Tennessee wins 17-10. They cover. I mean, there's not much to talk about this game. This game sucked.
Yeah, no, I think the biggest thing is that both these teams are pretty damn even. I know Tennessee has 4 wins compared to Carolina's 1, but if you look at the lines here and what happened in this game, every single thing is basically even. So both of these teams are, they're pretty fucking average, if not below average. So.
Yep. They're definitely below average, both of them.
And Levis going in the, fourth round?
Third
round. It shows how good of a pickup, he was at that third round.
I mean, aside from that first game, though, he doesn't look great.
No, but he hasn't looked bad.
I mean, that's not saying much. Like, he hasn't looked bad, but he hasn't looked good. You know what I mean? Like, he's just kind of been, like, meh. But I think that's also a testament to that team as well.
Yeah, that whole team is meh.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to the next game. We had Jacksonville at Houston. Jacksonville closed 1-point favorites. The total is 47.5. Jacksonville wins the game 24-21. The total goes under.
This was brutal, man. Brutal fucking way to end the game.
Why?
58 yarder.
Oh, off the doink. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you look at it, like if CJ, instead of running around and throwing that ball at the end, if he ran for
2 yards,
a yard, they would have won that game.
Yep.
So
it was
it's a little rough to see it that way, but also I thought this was one of the better games today.
Yeah, it was a good game, man. It definitely was. Like I said earlier in the show, I was on the under. I didn't have a side on this play, but watching the game, like, dude, the Texans got fucking hosed by some officiating, dude. Like, there was 2 third and longs on one drive that got extended because of pass interference calls, like questionable pass interference calls. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it was an interesting game. It was a good game, though. And, Jacksonville versus Houston is going to be a fun rivalry for many years to come between Trevor Lawrence and CJ Stroud.
Yep. Yeah, and this Houston Texans team, like, they took a little while to get going, but man, they're
legit.
They're legit, and I think they're going to be legit for a long time too. With D'Amico Ryan behind the helm, and CJ Stroud offensively, being that that kind of offensive mind. Coming from your quarterback and then having that coach that's all defensive minded, that gives them the opportunity. I think they're still a year behind. So next year, we're gonna see this team do some very fucking good things.
Yeah, I agree. Their defense needs to get tightened up a little bit. Could add some offensive line help, but man, they drafted very well. Getting Will Anderson Jr., C.J. Stroud, Tank Dell looks really fucking good.
Tank Dell looks great. Yeah.
Nico Collins looks great. I mean, they've done really well. Derek Stingley Jr., Jalen Petrie, like they've done a great job. Nick Casario's done a hell of a fucking job over there.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the next game. We have Pittsburgh at Cincinnati. Another dog shit game. Pittsburgh closed 2-point favorites. Total is 35.5. Pittsburgh wins 16-10.
Yep.
What did you think about this one? This shitty game.
Both of these QBs sucked.
Yeah.
I mean, Cincinnati has to get Mixon the ball when you have Jake Browning behind, and he is such a asset to your team, and to only give him 8 carries is mind-boggling to me.
Yeah.
8 carries for 16 yards, and they were down. They were up for a majority of the game.
I thought Jake Browning looked pretty decent too. Considering that he's going against one of the better defenses. Kenny Pickett, dude, that dude fucking sucks.
Yeah, he's pretty bad.
I don't know how Pittsburgh keeps winning games, bro.
Yeah.
This is the first game they actually outgained their opponent, though.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
So shout out to the Steelers for finally doing that. But, man, Steelers, even if they make the playoffs, bro, they're going to get fucking bounced so early. That team is so fraudulent.
Yep.
Don't like that team.
100% agree there.
Don't like that team. And it's unfortunate for the Bengals, too, because they were really starting to turn a corner, and then Joe Burrow got hurt. Just terrible. Terrible.
Yep.
All right, Ben, we got a Monday night game on deck for tomorrow night. We have... Oh, shoot. Hold on. We have some more games I forgot to hit on.
Yeah. Colts versus Bucks. Boring-ass game.
Yeah.
Saints versus Falcons. Boring-ass game. Other than the pick six.
Giants versus Patriots.
Oh, my God. That was embarrassing if you're a Patriots fan.
Bro, I'm not even joking, dude. The way that game ended and the sequence at the end, like, the fact that they were playing for a field goal rather than going for a touchdown, I was like, dude, they're not trying to win this game. They're definitely playing to lose.
Yeah.
But, man, dude, that team, bro, Ben, they got to get rid of fucking... That team needs to be rebuilt, man. Like, I honestly, I know it's fucking... I know it's Bill Belichick, but how do you come back with Bill Belichick next year?
Yeah, I was thinking that too. Like, if it wasn't Bill Belichick, I'd be thinking that the Patriots are going to fire their coach tomorrow.
Bro,
right?
Since they lost Brady, they have not been good, and they've gotten significantly worse every single year.
Yeah, I mean, Mac Jones looked decent his rookie year, but everything has just been downhill. I think the only bright spot would be Ramondre Stevenson.
If that.
Yeah.
That team sucks, dude.
He looked decent today.
That team stinks.
Yep. Those turnovers by Mac, just horrible. Like, horrible places to to turn the ball over, and both of these teams are just garbage.
Yep. All right, let's talk about the Monday night game. The Bears at the Vikings. Vikings lane 3 right now. The total's 44. There's some 2.5s out there too. So if you like the Vikings, go find a 2.5. On the money line, Chicago plus 132, Minnesota minus 156. I like the Bears in this game. Their defense has looked a lot better recently. I know the Lions came back and scored like a fucking dozen points on them late in the game, but the Lions are a really good offense. Minnesota has fucking Joshua Dobbs at quarterback. Thought that Joshua Dobbs' magic kind of ran out last week against the Broncos. They did cover, and the Vikings have covered 6 in a row. Their last 6 games they've covered the spread. But I do think that the magic kind of runs out here. I like the Bears in this spot. I think they're going to be able to do enough. I think they probably win the game outright, but I definitely think they cover the number.
Yeah, I'm really torn about this game because, and yes, I agree that the Joshua Dobbs magic has kind of turned that corner, but I also don't think the Bears are of any quality. I think they've gotten lucky in their wins, and playing bad teams at bad situations, and I don't know if they're going to be able to come out and do anything against, offensively against the Vikings. Their offense is bad. Their defense is bad.
Yeah, but their offense hasn't had Justin Fields, and with Justin Fields, they at least run the ball really well, which I think is huge for them.
I mean,
and on top of that, the Bears defense in the last 5 weeks has been top 5 in the NFL, both pass and rush. But really against the rush, they've been great.
Yeah. I mean, you had Fields the first 5 games, and he didn't do much. And then you had Fields this last game against Detroit, and he didn't do much.
They should have won that game.
Ball. He ran the ball.
But that's what they do with him.
Yeah. I mean, he ran the ball a hell of a lot more than he did the first 5 weeks. And I don't know if that's just Detroit having overlooked that. I don't know. I'd lean Minnesota here, even with Dobbs. I don't think I'm going to bet either side, but I lean Minnesota.
Yeah, I like the Bears in this spot. Give me the dog.
Yeah.
No way favorites go
this week.
No way favorites go 11-3-1 this week.
Yeah.
No fucking way. But I also said there was no way the public was going to win on Sunday after fucking crushing on Thursday and Friday and Saturday in college. But, they did. Here they are. Yeah. Maybe I should just fucking take all the square-ass plays now. Maybe that's the way to go. I do think
for this one, it's the way to go.
I don't know. Because Minnesota,
I won't bet a side here.
Because, if Minnesota Kirk Cousins, I would agree. I would be like, well, the line would probably be a little bit more if they had Cousins. But but Joshua Dobbs, the more tape that gets out, and we saw this with the Cardinals too, his first 2 or 3 games with the Cardinals looked great, and then he slowly regressed back to that the reason why he's a backup. And, he's a backup quarterback for a reason. You know what I mean? I don't know. I just, last week against Denver, he fell back to earth a little bit. And in the second half against the Saints, he fell back to earth. Really, all of his production came in the first half against the Saints. So I think that the
Saints are just enough of a dog shit team that you didn't have to worry. And I think that's where Chicago is too, though.
But Chicago's defense the last 5 weeks has been top 5 in the NFL, both rush and defense and pass defense. They've been good.
Chicago has played Vegas, LA, New Orleans, Carolina, and Detroit in the last 5 weeks.
But they've been good. Can only play who's in front of you. And it's not like the Vikings are lighting the world on fire with Joshua Dobbs, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I just think this spot, for me, it's the Bears or nothing. I'm not laying 3 with the Vikings, dude.
Yeah.
Vikings have covered all their last games being dogs.
Yeah.
This is their first game being a favorite in 6 weeks. Well, since the Packers game. When was that? That was October 29th.
They were 4 weeks, yeah.
They've been dogs in every other game.
Yeah, and they won outright in 3 of them.
Yeah. The buck stops here, Ben.
Yeah.
Buck stops here. But they are at home, so there's that as well.
29-degree weather outside. It's a good thing they play in a dome.
Yeah, for real. This is true. This is true. All right. Some MLB news. Kenta Maeda signs with the Detroit Tigers. 2 years.
Yep.
We also had the New York Yankees hired Brad Ausmus as a bench coach. Usually means that hiring a guy like Brad Ausmus, who's been a manager before,
excuse me,
might mean that Aaron Boone's leash is very short.
Yep. Thought Diamondbacks getting Suarez is a good move.
Yeah, that was a
With
crazy
Longoria
trade.
going out. Yeah,
That was a wild trade. I did not see that coming up. And my only thought process on that, Ben, is that the Mariners are fucking loading up to go for Shohei.
yeah, yep. I completely agree.
Because I just don't understand why else you would make that fucking move. Just makes no sense.
Yeah, but even then, like, I don't think that's a good move if you're loading up for Shohei. You don't get that much of a return for him, and you lose one of your better defensive players.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be a drawing point for me if I was Shohei. That you're strong defensively, and this puts them a half step back.
I don't know if it puts them a half step back. My biggest thing with Eugenio Suarez was the fact that, like, he was just such a glue guy in the clubhouse. It seemed.
Mm-hmm.
That's what really surprised me. But I mean, maybe they're gonna go out and get Matt Chapman too.
Yeah.
Matt Chapman's a much better defensive third baseman, but he leaves a lot to be desired as far as hitting the ball. But I mean, that's the only thing that I could think of, dude. I don't know why else you would make this move.
Yeah. Who do the Mariners have? Do they have any young guys coming up that are like they're
All their top prospects are like all in A-ball.
Let's see, who is number 2 on the depth chart there? Arias?
For the Mariners?
Yeah. Luis Arias.
Luis Rice plays for the fucking Marlins, bro.
Seattle Mariners. Arias? Yeah. Third baseman, Seattle Mariners.
What's the name?
Luis Arias. Urias.
That's Urias, bro. Actually, that makes sense why they made the move. Because that makes sense why they made the move, because they have Luis Urias there. Even though
he's not.
Even though he wasn't great last year, he wasn't great. That was an interesting move. Haven't heard a ton of Shohei news, although the Dodgers are the betting favorite to get him plus 130.
Yeah, we heard that it was going to be a negative if teams came out and told the public that they were going to be on him.
Yeah,
that's what we're hearing from his camp, I believe.
We kind of knew that.
Yeah.
He said something about that during the regular season too, like that he didn't want fucking kind of wanted to go under the radar. It's gonna be interesting how this all shakes out, because I honestly thought he was gonna get signed already.
Yeah. Oh, I'm surprised that we haven't heard anything. Yeah.
And there's like no news on like when he's gonna sign or anything. And then Yoshinobu Yamamoto, who's coming over from the Oryx Buffaloes in the MPB.
Mm-hmm.
You know, haven't heard much about him, although we know that like the Yankees are interested, the Mets are interested, Dodgers are interested, Giants are interested, Red Sox are interested. But he wants to be on a team that has Japanese players on it, which kind of, well, at least that's what's being rumored. He wants to be on a team that has Japanese players, so that kind of like narrows it down to a few teams: Mets, Red Sox, wherever Shohei goes.
Yeah.
Cardinals. That's where that is. Blake Snell. Haven't heard a ton around his name. But I think all the top free agents, none of them are going to sign until Shohei signs. Shohei's going to be the domino that falls. And then they'll all fucking fall into place after that.
Yep. But, I mean, I'm surprised that we haven't heard anything. We haven't heard that any teams are talking to anybody.
Yeah.
It's been eerily quiet.
Yeah, and we have winter meetings coming up here shortly.
Mm-hmm.
I actually believe it's in the next couple weeks.
Yeah.
Let me see when it is. Winter meetings, it's in December. I think it's next week it starts.
Yeah.
So I think that's when we're gonna hear like a lot of stuff fall, but I just don't see any of these free agents really fucking starting to sign until Shohei signs, because that's gonna set the market.
Yeah.
As well as like the trade candidates like Juan Soto and stuff. I don't think much of that's gonna do much till then. We have had some people sign though. We've had a lot of smaller. Kyle Gibson signed with the Cardinals. Lance Lynn signed with the Cardinals. Cardinals out here signing fucking low level.
Like, we know we're not going to get any of the big names, so.
Yep. Well, I mean, the Cardinals should be in play, but the problem is they just have so much salary tied up already.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, Aaron Nola. I think we mentioned it last week. Aaron Nola, he signed with. He re-signed with the Phillies on a 7-year contract.
Yep.
Pretty interesting.
I know. Yeah, he got paid.
Where do you think some of these? Where do you think some of these top guys land, Ben? Like, where do you think Blake Snell lands?
Unfortunately, I think he lands with the Dodgers. I think Dodgers really need to push for that number one starter. They need pitching very badly.
I think the Dodgers' dream scenario is Shohei and Yoshinobu.
Yeah.
Yoshinobu. I think I think that's our dream scenario, is getting those two guys.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Blake Snell go to Tampa Bay. I think they could use another starter pitching. I think Seattle might be a good fit for him.
I was thinking Seattle too, but they got Robbie Ray. They're paying him, and he's out with injured elbow.
Yeah.
Tommy John.
Snell was selected by the Rays too, so.
Yeah, he was. He played for the Rays.
Yeah.
They traded him to the Padres. I don't know if they're going to sign him back. The Rays are probably going to sign like some average dudes that are going to end up being fucking all-stars. That's what they do.
I mean, there's so many teams that need a number one pitcher. It's like, does Corbin Burns get traded too?
I do think Corbin Burns likely gets traded.
Yeah.
I also think there's like a handful of like mid-level free agents that I think could be good additions to playoff caliber teams. When we're talking like, you know, Jorge Soler, Eduardo Rodriguez, pitcher from the Tigers last year, Lourdes Gurriel, Teoscar Hernandez, Matt Chapman, Reese Hoskins, obviously coming off a knee injury. I think there's like dudes like that they're not going to go for as much as like obviously these big free agents. Whit Merrifield is another one. But I do think that there's guys like that could be positive for clubs. So I'm interested to see. Then obviously those guys aren't going to sign till like the big guys sign, but like Matt Chapman, for example, like, you know, platinum glove caliber third baseman, but his offensive production has not been good since 2021. So maybe, you know, maybe he figures it out. You know, that's the thing is like if he ever figures out his offensive production that he had in like 2020 and 2021, 2019, I mean that's an MVP caliber player.
Yeah.
So if I'm a team, I would definitely take a risk with that. And at the very minimum, you get a fucking platinum glove third baseman.
Yeah. Yep. No, I definitely agree with you on that. Yankees could use a third baseman. Blue Jays could use a third baseman. Fuck, Dodgers could use a third baseman.
Dude, when you look up MLB free agents, for every free agent, like says Dodgers, good fit.
Yeah. Yeah. Heard there's rumors circulating about Bellinger in San Francisco. Should be an interesting ad.
Yeah. That would be a good, interesting ad. My only problem with Cody Bellinger is like he looks so great in the beginning of the year for like pretty much a majority of the year. And then when the Cubs needed him the most at the end of the year, he really fucking regressed back to the old Cody Bellinger.
Yeah. Fuck, where's Josh Hader land?
I think he lands with the Texas Rangers.
Rangers, okay.
I honestly, I think a lot of teams don't want him in their locker room, especially teams with like a lot of young guys. I think the Rangers coming off a World Series win, having Bruce Bochy there, I think their locker room can kind of tolerate him a little bit better than most locker rooms, like Orioles, for example. Because my first thought was the Orioles would be a perfect landing spot because Bautista is out for the entire year next year, recovering from Tommy John. So I thought that would be a perfect landing spot, but I don't think the Orioles want to bring someone like that in their clubhouse, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that'll be interesting. Sonny Gray, another free agent. A lot of people are saying the Braves for him. It's going to be interesting, man.
Yep.
It's going to be an interesting couple weeks. We got a lot of international dudes. Jung-Hoo Lee from the KBO. Shota Imanaga from Japan. He's a left-handed pitcher. We also have Yadiel Rodriguez from Cuba. Those are like the top international guys. So we'll see.
Yep.
All I know is the Orioles better be in on some fucking starter.
Yeah, Orioles definitely need a starter.
They need like a top of the rotation kind of guy. That's why I think they're gonna go out and I think they're gonna trade for someone. I don't think they want to sign Blake Snell at 31 years old to like a 7-year deal.
Yeah, they definitely have to overpay him.
Well,
there's a lot of teams that will overpay him, but I don't think that's the.
And then they got and then they're gonna have to pay all their young guys soon too. You know what I mean? So like if you have that 7-year deal,
yeah,
and then you're sitting on it, you know, crazy. UTEP just fired their head coach for football, Dana Dimel.
Yeah. Any football teams you think coaches is gone after this week?
For the NFL?
Yeah.
Nah, I think at this point, I
We'll wait
mean,
until the end of the year, huh?
yeah, Brandon Staley would be like the first guy, but I think I think Brandon Staley, Ron Rivera, they're both fucking sitting ducks. They're definitely not going to be back next year. And, I mean, we'll probably see a few more, to be honest. Probably maybe Kevin Stefanski from the Browns, even though, like, the Browns have just had shit fucking injury year. But that one could be one. Frank Reich from Carolina, I think he's one and done, dude. I think he's lost that locker room. I don't know if there's coming back from that. I would have said Brian Dable might be a candidate to get fired, but
I was just gonna say that. Yeah.
the fact that they won 2 in a row and like locker room seems to still play for him, and given the situation without Daniel Jones, even though Daniel Jones sucked, it's like an excuse kind of built in, you know.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not my starting quarterback, so
yeah.
I think he gets another year. Arthur Smith from the Falcons, Ben, if they don't have a good end of the year, I think he's gone. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Let's get some best bets. So, what do you like for tomorrow, Ben?
So we'll go Vikings tomorrow. We are going to go with the under 43.5. I think this is a quick game with a lot of balls on the ground, which means that clock is going to be running, and I think we're going to get an under 43.5. And then we're going to go Washington Capitals -1.5. They're coming off a very disappointing loss, 5-0 in their last game. And Sharks are coming off a win, which means they're not going to win again for a little while. So I think you can push. Washington doesn't score a lot against, Washington hasn't scored a lot so far this season, but the Sharks are allowing 4.5 goals a game. So I think this is going to be one where Washington pounds it down. So we're going to go -1.5 at +120.
Nice. I got 2 bets I like tomorrow. I'm going Utah Utes College Hardwood +6 against St. Mary's. Utah's a great 3-point shooting team. St. Mary's has really been struggling, and one thing I've noticed about St. Mary's is that their offense just lacks a lot of athleticism, lacks a score without Aiden Mahaney really going. So I like Utah to be able to keep this within the number, +6. And then I like the Bears Monday night tomorrow, +3. Give me the points. Give me the dog. The run for the favorites has to end.
We'll see.
All right, thank you everybody for joining us. Make sure if you missed any part of the podcast, you can always catch it on Apple or wherever you catch your podcast, Spotify, Google, wherever you get your podcast, you can catch us there. We'll be back on Tuesday night to discuss some NFL and some other action, maybe some MLB news that could be popping up. You can follow the podcast on Instagram at Taproom Sports Podcast. Follow myself on Twitter at Jordan Rules TSP. Follow the podcast at Taproom_sports. Make sure to go download the Sharps app. Track your bets. Become a better. For Mr. Big Ball and Ben Larson, I'm Jordan Stacks on Stacks, lads. We'll catch y'all later. Peace.